Hey, good day, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. I hope you all are having a great start to your week. I know I am, and I got some interesting stuff that I wanted to talk about this morning. That's in the news, and let's just get right to it. I've kind of missed doing the headline hits. I've stayed out of things for the last couple weeks, so it's kind of neat to get caught up. I'll get caught up with you guys. So now listen to the words I'm going to use. These are not my words. These are words that are used by journalists that are putting this information out. So listen to what I have to say here. Biden's great reset. Biden's great reset goes through his woke Federal Reserve nominees. Okay, so this article put out by Breitbart, his Build Back Better plan legislation, Joe Biden wanted to spend $570 billion over the next decade on green causes, mostly focused on climate change. Fortunately, that bill seems to be dead, and yet now Biden's Greens, which is the administration, have their eyes on a bigger pot of money with which they pursue their climate agenda. What they're looking at is the assets of American banks. Let me say that again. They're looking at the assets of American banks. Those assets total nearly 23 trillion with a T, 23 trillion, according to the Federal Reserve. Um, so he's got nominees coming up. Sarah Bloom Riskin is one of the is one of the top nominees for the Fed's top banking regulator. Now, again, $23 trillion in assets. And the key word here is Biden's great reset. Now, we talked about it here at LWN lots of times. All I'm saying is, folks, please just be prepared and try to create a situation with your families that you are self reliant, that you're not reliant on anybody or anything to get you through any potential hard times coming our way. Because what a reset means to me is something has to collapse and something has to go away, and there has to be something that's going to move into that position. Now, is it going to be something magical and amazing? I don't know. Is it going to be something, in my opinion, illogical and reality? Absolutely. So having provisions and just making sure that you and your family is taken care of, I think is very important in these times that we're living in. That's all I'm saying. All right, next article. Now, this one here, I just want to kind of open your guys' eyes a little bit. So there's a list of 17 Senate Republicans joined Democrats to demand Joe Biden import, now listen to me, import more foreign workers. Now listen to this. A group of Senate Republicans joined Senate Democrats to demand President Joe Biden import more H-2B foreign visa workers to take working class blue collar American jobs. Now, I want to give you the list of Republicans that you need to keep an eye on because this is affecting Americans across the whole United States. A lot of people out of work right now because of choices that they have made, whether it's they're not going to comply to mandates, whatever their choices were, or some of them may be out of their hands. They're still looking for work. But listen to some of these names because some of you people out there watching right now, these are representatives in your own state. So you got to ask yourself, if these people are asking for more migrants to take American jobs, why is that? Kevin Kramer, a Republican from North Dakota. Mike Rounds, Republican from South Dakota. Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina. James Risch, a Republican from Idaho. That's my state. So, James, Mr. Risch, I'm paying attention. Lisa Murkowski, a Republican from Alaska. Roy Blunt, Republican from Minnesota. Cynthia, a Republican from Wyoming. John Cornyn, a Republican from Texas. Mike Crapo, another one of my Republicans here in the great state of Idaho. Crapo and Risch both have been in here for a long time. I think it's about time for some new blood. John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota; Susan Collins, Republican from Maine; Patty Toomey, Republican from Pennsylvania; Roger Wicker, Republican from MS, wherever MS is. I'm sorry, I don't know where MS is, but Jerry Morgan, a Republican from Kansas; Rand Paul, Republican from Kentucky; and John Barrasso, a Republican from Wyoming; and Tim Scott, Republican from South Carolina. So those are people, in my opinion, that you guys really need to pay attention to, and we need to figure out why is it that they are really pushing the current administration to bring in more migration to take these American jobs. And this consists of landscaping, construction, um, tourism. So that's a lot of jobs that American people can be out there doing themselves, and they're wanting to bring in more. So why is that? We need to dive deeper into that and figure that out. So let's move on to the next headline hit here, and we're going to talk about Canada and Trudeau. So listen to this: Trudeau threatens to freeze assets, suspending insurance of Freedom Convoy truckers. After invoking emergency powers, far left Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau threatened to freeze assets and suspend insurance of those involved in the Freedom Convoy trucker protest. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because this is what tyranny does. We have a right, and even Canadian patriots have a right to protest and have their grievances addressed and heard. And here we have a prime minister who is becoming a dictator, and he's going to punish those patriots for peaceful protest. These people have been up there for weeks now, and they haven't done anything illegal. They haven't done anything violent. And now he wants to try to punish them. So he is going to freeze all of um, their corporate accounts. They're going to suspend their insurances on their vehicles and demand these people leave. Why? Because these people want their voices heard, and they don't want their voices heard. So they're going to try to figure out any way they possibly can to silence them. So that's Trudeau's next move. And then to top it all off, and I want you guys to pay attention to this: the Canadian Mounties make arrests seizing guns from militant Freedom Convoy supporters. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because we all know there are paid actors out there, crisis actors, and what they do is they come in and they do things like this, and then of course it's all planned out, and the military comes in or the police force comes in and makes these big busts, these big arrests, and make the peaceful protesters look like there's something bad. So 12 protesters were arrested by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Monday following discovery of multiple firearms at the Freedom Convoy blockade at the busy U.S. border crossing in Alberta. I'm bringing this to your guys' attention because this is what tyranny does. Also, they plant things. Now, could these people be legit? Could these people be militants? It's very possible. Um, I don't know why they would feel the need to do this, but yes, there are people out there in our world that feel like that may be the only course of action. Now, I'm totally against it. I think we need to do everything as peaceful as we possibly can. Could it get to a day where we have to have a different plan? I pray to God not. So let's go to what happened to us here in America on J6. So DC jail ignores House Judicial Committee members' inquiry about J6 inmates. So the Biden administration and Florida and the DC Department of Corrections have all changed people in the organization. They switched some people out, and so the committee is now reaching out to them, and they're asking questions about these. In my opinion, they're political prisoners that have been held captive now for well over a year without any due process. Without any due process, they're holding them hostage, in my opinion. And so The committee has reached out to them, and I mean, they're not responding to emails, phone calls, interviews, anything. They are continuing their their march, and their stance on just keeping this all hush hush. They're not allowing anybody any access to these people, and I think it's very unfortunate that that this is going on right here in America. All right, next headline. Let's talk about soaring inflation prices. So prices soar twice as fast as expected. I'm not going to go through all these numbers, but in January, it jumped 1%. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people. Oh, it just jumped 1% inflation. But on this scale that they're showing here in this article from Breitbart, it's definitely concerning. Um, inflation, we talk about it all the time. It keeps jumping up, jumping up, jumping up. um I paid almost $5 a gallon for fuel over the weekend, so it's creeping up there, guys, and we cannot stay this course. That's why I talked about the earlier headline hit, the great reset. Are we headed in that direction? What's going to be on the horizon? I don't know. I'm just paying attention to it, but the January reports does not look well for the Biden administration. There is no attempt to curve this. There's no plan. There's nothing coming out of this administration. They don't care. So pay attention to that, folks. Let's hit the next headline. This last three is pretty important. I find it really interesting on what's unfolding before our eyes, and I want you guys to pay attention to this. So there was a poll done, and majority of Democrats want Hillary Clinton investigated for link to Russia hoax. Most Democrats think that Hillary Clinton should be investigated for her potential role in the Russia collusion hoax, according to a new poll that was done just this last week. They polled 108 Americans, and 66% of the Democrats want her investigated. Now we're talking about the Durham report that just come out and the indictments that he threw out there. And Durham has already charged the Clinton campaign subcontractor for allegedly lying about his source and debunking the so-called Steele dossier, and that he helped compile, which was an attempt to frame Trump, and that all come out in the New York Post. So what's happening here, folks? What are we seeing happening right before our eyes? Um, is anything going to come of this? I'm not 100% sure on that, but what I'm telling you is, they said the first arrest would be the biggest one and it would shock the world. So I don't know what's on the horizon. Let's go to the next headline hit, which ties into this. And the GOP backs Donald Trump against the biggest crime in U.S. history. Calls for total clean out of Washington's political class. What are they talking about? Well, Republicans are expressing fury over allegations that Hillary Clinton operatives paid a contractor to spy on former President Donald Trump during his 2016 campaign and into his presidency. This all started back in the Obama administration as well. They're calling for the biggest crime in U.S. history while demanding a total clean out of the political class in Washington. Taking to social media, Republican lawmakers have put out all kinds of statements, and I'll read a couple of them here for you. This is from Ronna McDaniel. Durham's report shows that Trump campaign and White House were illegally spied on, paid for by the Clinton campaign. Ronnie Jackson from Texas, he says, makes a statement. Hillary Clinton is the most corrupt politician in American history. How she spied on President Trump is criminal. It's just the tip of the iceberg, too. The full truth of Hillary's crimes have yet to be revealed. Lock her up. I don't know. Is this going to also lead into Hunter Biden's laptop and the Ukraine and all the other stuff linked to China? Remember, I reported weeks ago that the new book came out red-handed, and it's tying the Biden family to a lot of backdoor deals. So here's the last headline for today. Mo Brooks makes a quote, somebody needs to go to jail over Clinton big tech allegedly spying on Trump. That's his words, not mine. Representative Mo Brooks, a Republican from Alabama running for Senate, says somebody needs to go to jail over allegations that failed Democrat political candidate Hillary Clinton conspired with tech to spy on then candidate Donald Trump in 2016. So I don't know, man. It looks like there are a lot of things starting to really pop off. And I'm pleased to see that at least some of it is getting out there. Of course, lamestream media will not pick up any of this. They're not going to report on this. They're not going to put any of this out. You can find this at Breitbart. You can find it at Blaze News. There's lots of conservative outlets out there that you can pick up all this information because it's starting to go viral. And I'm starting to see it on Twitter. I'm starting to see it on Facebook. It's all over the place. And thank God that finally it seems like the ball is starting to roll down the hill. And I think once it gets to a certain point, there's no way they're going to be able to stop what's coming. So anyway, you guys have a great day. We'll see you back here this evening at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and 6 Mountain Time for LWN on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. All right, y'all. Have a great day.